Hello and welcome back to 1874. Today I've got a very special show for you, a show that I imagine is probably going to make me look a little bit stupid. Basically, you'll have seen YouTubers do this. The concept of the show is that I'm going to go back and review my Premier League predictions that I made at the start of the season. Now, unfortunately for me, I've been caught in 4K here because I was working for Sky at the time in the transfer window. So I was given control of the Sky Sports TikTok and asked to predict the league table ahead of the Premier League season. Now, the transfer window hadn't finished. I don't even know if the season had actually started. But anyway, it was the transfer window. We were in August, and I was asked to make my predictions. I'm going to play it now, and I'm going to stay on the screen and look at what I've said at the same time as you. I've not seen this back, so I'm going to review my Premier League predictions. I'm just going to switch the screen
Everton
now.
will surprise people this season. I think if it hadn't been for PSR, they'd have finished a lot higher last season. So I'm going to go for 11th. Been impressed with their business. Brentford, much depends on Ivan Toney. Could be a little bit of a struggle. I'm going to go for 16th. Southampton, difficult to know. I do like Russell Martin though, but I'll go 19th. Sorry, Southampton fans. Leicester, rock bottom. Yeah, Chelsea, I think it might be a struggle for them as well. I'm going to go for 7th. Saw them in pre-season the other day. Didn't look great. Wolves, I'll go for the same as last year, 14th. West Ham under Lopetegui, I'm going to go for 10th.
Not far.
Ipswich Town, I think Ipswich might surprise people and stay up, but I'll put them as 17th. Manchester United, let's upset Flex. Where can I put Manchester United? I'll put them to be... I'll go 8th. Fulham, could be a tough season for Fulham as well, but I do like the signing of Smith Rowe, so I'll go 15th. Starting to feel the pressure now because I feel like I'm forgetting people when I'm putting these teams down. Manchester City, I think Arsenal are going to do it this year, spoiler, so I'm going to put them 2nd. Liverpool, exactly the same as last season, I'm going to go 3rd again. Spurs, I will put as 5th or 6th. I'm going to go for 6th for Spurs. They've got obviously European football this time round. Palace, I really like what they've done or what they're doing in the Glasgow, so I'm going to go for 9th for them. Bournemouth, no danger of them being in a relegation scrap. 12th. Brighton, I think they may have finished somewhere near there last season, 13th. Mighty Aston Villa Football Club, I'm actually going to go for 5th this year and hope that that's enough for Champions League football. And to finish off, I think Newcastle will be much improved.
No
European football, 4th, which leaves Arsenal as number 1. Arteta's got it.
That was unlucky as well.
I think he's going to lead Arsenal to the title this season. So yeah, champions for me at the moment. I'm going to go for Arsenal, a changing of the guard. Forest, I didn't notice I had 18th left to do, in all honesty. Yeah, 18th. I don't think Nuno will last the season, to be honest. So I think that does me. Yeah, there we go. There's my Premier League predictions. Feel free to argue with them. Not sure I agree with everything I've done, but it's the pressure of doing this on TikTok. So yeah, tell us what you think.
That last one's an absolute stinker, isn't it? It's unforgivable. No one would have predicted Nottingham Forest to get into Europe. Not even Nottingham Forest fans, I don't think, would have predicted them to be in Europe. But I've gone to Sky in August there, full of beans. Been a bit outlandish, in all honesty. Marinakis maybe is a bit more switched on than I gave him credit for at that time. I just had in my head for some reason that I knew wouldn't last the season. Now it's an absolutely honking shout from me. I'm shook by that. The fact I predicted Nottingham Forest to go down. As someone who works in football, it's pretty embarrassing, but I will caveat it by saying I don't think many people would have even had them in the top half. I should have been safe and just put the 3 to go down that went down. It doesn't really matter about order at that point, if I'd have just called the relegated teams to go back, which would have been the obvious thing to do. I'd have looked a lot more smart. My Forest shout wouldn't have looked as bad, but to have them, to have put them 18th, that's embarrassing. Ipswich at 17. I called Southampton Leicester to go down. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to have come up with that. I think my reasoning was sound, and obviously they did go down, although I got them in the wrong order, didn't I? Ipswich 17th. I thought they'd done decent business. I thought they had a better manager. I thought he'd do better. I thought that group of players would do better. They'd spent a bit of money as well. Not far off. Ipswich finished 19th, 17th, two space gap. But ultimately, I'm wrong. Ipswich didn't stay up, and not a great shout. Brentford's a bit of a bad one. At the time, I don't think Ivan Toney had gone, and I referenced that there. Much would depend on what happened. Annoyingly, I'd actually said on Sky that Mbeumo was more important than Ivan Toney. That's not seen here on that Sky Sports TikTok. But I did say that, which was a good shout. It's a tough game, tough gig, the predictions gig, the pressure of doing it to a million or so people as well. I'm imagining they've got on their TikTok. I've obviously buckled under the pressure here. Fulham 15th, I finished 11th. Not a terrible shout. I thought they'd struggle without João Paulinho because their record without him when he was there wasn't brilliant. But they recovered really well, bought really well, and Marco Silva's a really good manager. So I put 15th. They finished 11th. Wolves 14th. They finished 16th. Actually, could have finished 14th if they hadn't have tossed off the last few games. Yeah, I think that's unlucky. The season before, I predicted them to go down and got absolutely battered by Wolves fans on social media. So, I've overestimated them, if anything, that season. So hopefully the Wolves fans will leave me alone now. Brighton 13th, that's terrible. They finished 8th. Thought there'd be a bit of a period where they'd have to knit it all together. New young manager. They'd bought lots of new players, changed their kind of transfer strategy quite heavily, spent a lot of money. So I thought they might struggle a little bit. I think they finished around 13th under De Zerbi. So that was my reasoning for that. But they finished 8th. So that's wrong. I mean, looking at this, I don't think I've got anything right. Terrible prediction work from me. Bournemouth 12th. They finished 9th. Yeah, fair play to them. They were a little bit better than I thought they would be. I did say no danger of going down, although I don't think many people would have been predicting them to go down anyway. This is one of the more unluckier ones in my book, Everton, because I referenced there that they'd improved, but obviously they started horrifically under Sean Dyche, and Moyes has come in and really rose them up the table. I think that's unlucky. They finished 11th. Sorry, I've predicted them 11th. They finished 13th. That's an unlucky one for me because lots of what I said there actually was true. This is embarrassing. West Ham 10th, because I actually was on Sky talking about their transfer business as not being good when everyone else was gassing it up. So maybe other people were influencing me and in my ear at this point, but I didn't like the Lopetegui appointment. And I predicted them to finish 10th. They've ended up finishing 14th in the end, which is higher than they probably should have finished, actually. But I'm not sure why I said that, because that went against most things that I thought going into the season. This one's unlucky. I've referenced how good Palace are there, that, the manager's really, really good. And obviously they've won the FA Cup. I predicted them 9th and they've finished 12th. I think that's an acceptable prediction. I think what I said was a good prediction there. So it might not be reflected in where I've actually placed them. But I think the reasoning between what I did was actually pretty sound there, I would say. So that one's one of my more unluckier shouts. I got slaughtered online for saying Manchester United would finish 8th. Oh, if I went back and looked through those TikTok comments now, people were battering me. Who's this guy? What's he going on about? He knows nothing. I've predicted them too high. People thought I was being very pessimistic having Manchester United in 8th. They finished 15th. So my prediction ultimately was wrong. But I don't think many people had Manchester United that low in their predictions, whereas I foresaw it a little bit, that it would be a howler of a season for them. Obviously not to the extent that it was, but I think that's decent. And considering the abuse I got in the comments on TikTok there, I'm happy with that. That's a good prediction from me. Well, I say it's a good prediction. Can it be a good prediction when it's not right? But I think you get my drift of what I'm trying to say. Chelsea 7th. I feel like that's something that could have easily happened this season. Obviously, they ended the season pretty well, but they did have some barren runs through the season. Maresca did well. Obviously, got them up to 4th. So fair play to him, but not a terrible prediction there. Chelsea in 7th. Again, I think the reasoning was sound. Tottenham 6th. Obviously, they finished 17th. I've got that way wrong, but nobody would have predicted Spurs in 17th. Absolutely nobody. They'd finished 5th the season before, just missed out on Champions League football. To have seen the fall off in the league, nobody would have seen them losing 20 plus games. So I think I can be forgiven for that one. Villa in 5th, and I mentioned there the coefficient hopefully being enough to get Champions League football, and it was. One of my more unluckier positions because they finished kind of joint 5th, if we're to be pedantic about it. So technically, we got enough points to finish 5th. We just didn't get the goal difference to finish 5th. So I was unlucky with that one. One place out. God, we wish it was different. God, we wish we had finished 5th. God, we wish my prediction was correct and I came out here with at least one correct prediction. But alas, I'm not going to. But that, again, a little bit unlucky there. There's caveats with that. I've been a little bit unlucky with my Villa prediction in 5th. Newcastle 4th. I'm quite proud of this prediction. Obviously, they didn't finish 4th. They finished 5th. But not many people had Newcastle in the Champions League places at the start of the season, whereas I was quite adamant and quite steadfast about it all summer, that I thought Newcastle without European football would be capable of of getting in the Champions League again, and that it would be more like their first whole season under Howe when they did qualify for Champions League. And actually, in the TikTok comments there, a lot of Newcastle fans, for all the abuse I got from Manchester United fans, actually got a lot of love from Newcastle fans for putting them forth, because not many other people had done that. So I did see something there. So I think maybe that's the one prediction I'm most proud of. It's a low bar. Liverpool third. Obviously, they won the league. Not many people were predicting them to win the league, but I did say that I thought it was a good thing that Slot hadn't bought many players in, if any at all. He hadn't bought anyone in at the time. I thought that would be a good thing. He'd work with what they got, and that they'd have a successful season. And I didn't think they'd win the league, but ultimately some of the stuff I said about Liverpool and Gravenberch on Sky turned out to be correct. City second, they finished third. Meh. Again, no one saw Man City not being involved in the title race, so I think I can be forgiven there as well. Arsenal top, I thought it would be their year. I thought they'd have learnt lessons from finishing second twice. They didn't. They finished second again. Wouldn't have taken much more for them to have made the title race a lot more interesting this season, but they just didn't seem to want to do it for whatever reason. Obviously, factor injuries in. But I did think Arsenal would win the league, and they didn't. So I got that wrong. Ultimately, I got 20 things wrong here, so my predictions are rubbish. But let me know in the comments. I have made some semi-decent shouts. Obviously, Forest is a howler. Other than that, I'd give myself, can I even give myself anything out of 10? Probably not, because like I say, I got 0, but a few unfortunate incidents there. A series of unfortunate events would be how I'd describe my my Premier League prediction. So yes, that's how I got on. Do let me know if you made any outlandish shouts in the comments at the start of the season, or what your predictions were. Were you near getting anything right? Did you foresee some of the stuff that ended up happening this season? Let me know. So yeah, a bit of a different piece of content today. Let me know if you'd like to see more things like this. I'm presuming this will be YouTube only, so it won't go out on audio. So if you're watching this right now, go back and check out all the other content that we've had come out this week. There's been plenty. Subscribe with your post notifications on. Thank you very much to Match Bingo for continuing to sponsor us. Do go and check them out. There's plenty of football coming up, so you can buy your bingo cards, enjoy the football, and potentially win yourself some money. Scan the QR code now, or head to 1874.io/matchbingo. All that's left for me to say is I'm going to go in a hole and hide for a little bit and up the Villa.